What's up, guys? Listen, they're saying that this is the greatest card of all time. This is what they're saying. They're saying that this is the greatest card of all time. And this is going to be like a $20, $25 pay-per-view, depending on where you at. That is what they're saying. I can't confirm that. What I can confirm is that this is the greatest card that I remember seeing. I mean, this fight card here is the greatest fight card I've ever seen. I don't know about ever, but this is the greatest card that I remember. Okay. Every one of these fights, and I'm talking about February 22nd, Riyadh season, Beterbiev against Bivol rematch. All right. The first card was crazy. The first fight was crazy. Some of these Riyadh season cards, they're all been good. Now, we've had cards with a bunch of big names on the same card, but now all of these are quality names and quality fights. Championship level, interim championship, top contender, former champion, all that stuff, all on one card. All of these fights from the bottom up, and I say the bottom out of no disrespect, because all of these fights, I'm going based on the order that's on the flyer. All of these fights could be their very own main event on any given Saturday night. Every one of these fights here. Now there's 7 on this flyer. You got 6, and then you got the main event between Beterbiev and Bivol, which is rematch, which is still, in my opinion, one of the most important fights that we had in this last generation. And the light heavyweight division in one of the best divisions that we've had in the past couple generations. It's been very good here. But let's start from the ground up on the flyer. It starts out with Joshua Buatsi against Callum Smith. This is a fight that I wanted. Like, between these 3 British fighters, I've been wanting to see Boxingwave against Yard, or Yard against Smith, or even Smith now against Buatsi. I've been wanting to see these 3 fight each other, mainly because they're 3 British fighters that are pretty damn good. I mean, Callum Smith has been at a light heavy for a minute now. Buatsi is still undefeated. He's picking up some good wins. He's been active. There was a little hiccup around the time him and Eddie got into it, and he left the zone. He was supposed to fight Bivol, yada, yada, yada. But I feel like he's picked his momentum back up, beating Willie Hutchinson. You know what I mean? I think he's at a good space right now. Callum Smith, I like him. Took a couple losses, all right, but he's lost to some of the pound for pound guys. He's never been beaten. He's never been officially beaten by any top contender. He's lost to some of the best fighters in the world. Canelo Alvarez, Arthur Beterbiev. I think this is a step up for Joshua Buatsi. And this is an opportunity for Callum Smith to prove that he one of these 2, if not both, can be a champion at some point. And this is what we're getting to kick off this event. This event is, again, I don't know if these fights are going to go in this order. I believe this should at least be moved up a slot, but it's not a championship fight. It's an interim championship fight. So I get that. A lot of them are. So you got to go in order of championships. But I love this fight. I love this fight here. This is a great fight, great matchup. And again, this could have easily been a main event. We get main events like this on a regular. So I'm not gonna hold y'all too long. I'm going to run through these fights because I do want to make content individually of some of these fights at some point, and I will do that. Jang is going to be fighting Kabayel, another really good fight. Kabayel was supposed to fight Martin Bakoli. I had a love-hate relationship with that fight. I had a love-hate opinion about that fight because as much as I wanted to see that fight, and when I was told that Kabayel pulled out, and I believe Zhang didn't really want the fight with Martin Bakole as well. So now they're fighting each other. But what I did like about that fight before is that the quality, I feel like these two, Kabayel and Martin Bakole, are probably the two most risk less reward fighters. The two big boogeymen. I think Martin Bakole is the number one boogeyman in the heavyweights, and I think Kabayel is number two. And being that Kabayel didn't want to fight him, you have Jang who's still lingering around. You know what I mean? Because he knocked the ass. He took his loss to Park or whatever, but he lost to Deontay Wilder. I mean, he beat Deontay Wilder and stopped him. So I think this is a great fight. I hope Martin Bakole can get on one of these cards soon against someone good. I hope someone good is willing to fight him. The reason why I said I had a love-hate thing for that fight is because I felt like if Ajit lost to Bakole or Bakole lost to Kabayel, then no one would want to fight the loser. You know what I mean? No one would still want to fight the winner, but they would have no choice because this is going to be for an interim WBC title. But the loser, that would give people the excuse to avoid them. And I've said this on other videos. So I think that was my real issue with that fight happening. But now that it's not happening, you got Jang, you got Kabayel, great fight. I'll dig more into it on how I think it's gonna go in a future video. But let's move on. Vergil Ortiz Jr. against Israel Madrimov. Big fight. I don't think it's gonna happen. I like that it's on this card, but Vergil Ortiz was supposed to be fighting Jaron Boots Ennis. I gotta make a video talking about Boots, but that's not gonna happen. But Madrimov already has a fight. He has already have a fight lined up with Bohachuk. Okay, Bohachuk. I was about to pull up his name. Bohachuk. So Bohachuk had just had that battle with Vergil Ortiz Jr. And now Madrimov is supposed to be fighting him soon, real soon, a couple weeks, right? A few weeks or so. With that being said, I don't know how that fight is going to go. If Madrimov dominates him without too much damage, which is pretty far-fetched, but this is boxing, I can see this fight with Vergil happening in February. But if this is, they go 12 rounds, you know, he takes some damage, he loses the fight, I don't see this fight happening with Vergil Ortiz. And even if Bohachuk beats Madrimov, who's to say that he's going to leave that fight clean? And are people going to want to see that rematch? I would love to see them rematch because I think Bohachuk edged that fight, you know? So with all that being said, love the fight if it goes down. But even if it doesn't go down, I would like to see Vergil Ortiz and another fight on that card. Don't take them from the card. Keep them on the card. But since we didn't get Boots, if we don't get Madrimov, this is 154. Like, you can make any good fight happen at 154. And I'm happy. I'm happy with anything they're willing to do on there. You know, if they get Murtazaliev on there, it could be anybody. I'm good. There's a whole lot of people on 154 that they can get to replace Madrimov if he's unavailable. Bohachuk if he's unavailable. Boots if he's unavailable. Whoever's unavailable, replace him. And that's how we got to keep it moving with these cards. You know, these cards are too good to be worried about who don't want to fight or who's not available. You know, and we keep it moving like that. Carlos Adames against Hamza Sharazz. So this is another good fight. This is a championship. Now we're entering the championship fights, the actual championship, the full title holders. Carlos Adames, he is a WBC champ at 160. He's been for some time. He was interim champ for a long time, but Jamal Charlo was inactive. Basically, Carlos was, you know, waiting for his shot and he never got it from Jamal. But they elevated him and he's full champion now. He did have one fight already with that title. And I'm glad he's getting a fight, man, because he's just a guy that's been overlooked. This whole WBC title thing at 160 just there's been very little activity, and Carlos did fight early this year. We know that Hamza Sharazz has been super active. He's been on all of these cards um this year. So he's so I think it's a good thing that he got this opportunity. It's a title shot, and we need some movement at 160. We need some movement. We need something to happen at this division. We can't keep waiting around for dudes like a Jamal Charlo or Chris Eubank. We need these guys to unify and make 160 great again, like for real, because it's been the weakest division in boxing for the last few years since Canelo moved up and Triple G retired and all that. It's been kind of weak. Um, so this is a solid fight. And don't sleep on Carlos Adames. Don't sleep on him. I know Hamza's got a nice little momentum going, but I still think he can be hurt. Like don't sleep on him. Good fight. Now, one of my favorite fights on this card is Shakur Stevenson against Floyd Schofield. Love this fight. Shout out to the Schofield family for even taking this fight. Because Floyd did get dropped in his last fight. You know what I mean? He got dropped, but he still pulled off the win. But when guys get rattled a little bit, they usually go into hiding. Floyd is getting his shot, and I like it. I like these guys, even the younger guys, the younger top contenders like him. I need Cepeda in there with someone relevant, hopefully soon. I wanted it to be Shakur, but whatever. Same thing with Keyshawn. He's on the come up. He's right there now. No more excuses. Any of these guys that get title shots, I'm ready for all of them. Shout out to Floyd Schofield. Don't sleep on him. Shakur is one of the most gifted, the best defenders out there. But he has a lot to prove too. And this is a dangerous fight for Shakur, because he's fighting a kid that's young, that is powerful, explosive, that can switch. And Shakur is either, this fight can either break him or it can make him shine and look better, because what he needs is this explosive puncher. Dela Santos was that. I think Dela Santos was more dangerous than Floyd Schofield, no disrespect. But Dela Santos didn't press the issue enough. He didn't make the fight enough. And Shakur, obviously, he didn't fight that much neither. So I think this fight can reverse what people think of Shakur, because now he's fighting someone that's aggressive, that is a puncher. So he can take advantage of Floyd's aggression, or will Floyd's aggression be too much for Shakur? You know what I mean? So all the stuff that Shakur has been getting for the past year, for his last couple fights, let's reverse that. This is the opportunity. This is the perfect fight. He needs to fight aggressive fighters. All right. Great fight. Anyway, Danny Dubois against Joseph Parker. I mean, this is clearly a co-main event. This is the second best fight on this card. Danny Dubois is on a roll. His resume is insane. The amount of fights he's been taking, crazy. AJ, Usyk. All right, Joe Joyce. Now Joseph Parker. You know what I mean? Gerald Miller. Philip Hrgovic. Hrgovic, nobody even really wanted to fight him. So shout out to Danny Dubois for taking this fight. And shout out for Joseph Parker and changing his career around. Because a lot of people thought you was done. A lot of people thought you was coming slowly, going into that journeyman level. You know what I mean? Not journeyman, but, gatekeeper. You was at that gatekeeper stage. And then he turned it around, man. And he's been looking better than he has his whole career. Keeping that speed and toughness, but also bringing the experience and being committed to being aggressive. I love it. This is a great fight. I think Joseph is gonna be doing better. I think he's gonna do way better than AJ did. Let me just say that. Because I think Joseph, one strength that he has over AJ is his speed and his elusiveness. He can move better than AJ. I wouldn't necessarily say he's a better defender, but I think he has a better style to deal with Daniel. And I think it's going to be an action-packed fight. I love the fight. And he also has power. So you can't sleep on him. And obviously the main event, Beterbiev against Bivol. I know I made a recap. I know I covered it live before. I can't remember. I think first viewing I thought Bivol edged it, but I thought that a lot of the rounds were swing rounds. Let me say this. I think I might have scored it a draw, but I thought the easier rounds, I think the rounds that Bivol won were easier to score for him. Let me say that. The ones that I gave the Beterbiev, I think they were more swing rounds. You know what I mean? I think Bivol was actually doing a better boxing. We knew Bivol was going to be the better boxer going in the fight, but we knew that Beterbiev and his pressure and his power and his just intensity was going to be a lot for Bivol, especially in the later rounds. Very, very close fight. A lot of people thought Bivol won the fight, so we're getting a rematch. Bivol can do better and win, and Beterbiev could do better and win. You know, we'll talk and talk more about what these two need to do in order to win the rematch. We'll get to that at some point, but overall, phenomenal card. So thank you, Turkey Al Sheikh. Thank you to everyone that's involved in the fight card here, all the fighters, anyone that's made this happen. And I just want to close this out by saying, guys, if there's fighters out here that are ducking, faking injuries, that's overpricing themselves, you know, blaming fights not happening because of promoters, all the stuff behind the scenes, stuff that we can't prove, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. If you're not getting a fighter, if a fighter's not giving you what they want, if they're charging $80 for a card, pay-per-view, for a regular fight, you don't have to watch it. You don't have to support it. You don't even have to be angry at it. Because when we're getting cards like this on a regular and they're for free, or they're for a very minimal pay-per-view price like $20, we don't even have to focus on those other fights. I mean, I make content, so I'm going to talk about it because you guys want to hear what I have to say. But we can focus on fights like this. We have this option here. So remember that, like, we can ignore the bullshit. And like I said about Ortiz, Madrimov earlier, listen, if Madrimov can't take the fight because he took too much punishment against Bohachuk when they fight, there's a million guys at 154 to fight. Shit, if Tim Tszyu just comes out of nowhere and says, "Yeah, I'll take the fight against Ortiz," that fight was supposed to happen anyway. And I know Tim is coming off 2 losses, but it's still a good fight. You know what I mean? So look, and we got other people at 154. I'm just threw his name out for example. All right, so listen, please subscribe to the channel. I'll be back talking about these fights individually, of course. All right, y'all have a good one. Peace.